It was Amaka's first day at Greenwood High School in the United States. She had flown all the way from Nigeria to spend a school year in this small American town. Everything felt new: cold weather, quiet streets, and so many unfamiliar faces. But Amaka was excited. She loved learning and exploring new places. Mrs. Tanner, the school secretary, handed her a paper and smiled. "Here's your locker number. You're in hallway B. Welcome to Greenwood High." Amaka walked through the halls, holding her backpack tightly. Students stared at her but said nothing. She finally reached hallway B and looked for her locker. "Number 13, she whispered. The locker was different from the others. It was dusty, and the metal looked older and more rusted than the rest. A small dent ran across the middle, like someone had hit it with a heavy object. The number plate was faded, but she could still see 13. She turned the key in the lock. It made a loud click, and the door opened with a slow creak. Inside was only one thing: a porcelain doll. Amaka blinked. The doll wore a faded pink dress with lace. Its face was pale with painted blue eyes and red lips. Its hair was brown and curly, tied with tiny ribbons. But what made her uneasy was the expression: a small, cold smile that felt almost alive. She reached for it, but someone called out, "Hey, what are you doing?" Amaka turned. A girl with short blonde hair stood nearby, looking nervous. "I just got this locker," Amaka said. "Why?" The girl stepped back. "That's locker 13. Nobody uses it." Not since. She stopped, looking around. "Just be careful, okay?" Before Amaka could ask more, the girl walked away quickly. Amaka picked up the doll and looked at it closely. There was a name written on the back of its neck: Clara 1987. She placed the doll back inside and closed the locker. For the rest of the day, something felt strange. In every class, she kept thinking about the doll, its frozen smile, the way it stared. Even when she tried to forget, she couldn't. When the last bell rang, Amaka returned to her locker. She opened it. The doll was sitting closer to the edge than before. She paused. Maybe she had left it like that? She placed it back and shut the door. That night, in her host family's home, she tried to sleep, but her dreams were filled with whispers and a voice calling her name. "Amaka, Amaka." She woke up sweating. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "You opened it. Now she knows you." Amaka couldn't stop thinking about the message. "You opened it. Now she knows you." She stared at the text on her phone all morning. There was no name, no number, just a gray message bubble. When she tried to reply, it said, "Failed to send." She told herself it was just a prank. Maybe someone from school saw her open the locker and decided to scare her. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. At school, she walked quickly to her locker. Locker 13 looked the same. She opened it slowly. The doll was sitting in a different position. Her head was turned to the side, and her eyes seemed to look directly at Amaka. Amaka stepped back. Her hands shook. "Stop it," she whispered to herself. "It's just a doll." She picked it up and placed it farther back inside the locker. Then she slammed the door shut. In English class, she couldn't focus. As the teacher spoke, Amaka kept hearing whispers, soft, low voices. She looked around. Everyone else was quiet, listening. She leaned forward. The voice was coming from her backpack. Slowly, she opened the zipper. Nothing inside. No doll, no phone, just her books and pens. But then she heard it again. A faint laugh, like a child giggling. She jumped to her feet. "Are you okay, Amaka?" the teacher asked. "Yes, ma'am. I just need to use the restroom." "In the bathroom." Amaka washed her face. She looked in the mirror and tried to calm herself. "Maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe I'm not sleeping well." Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then the door slammed shut behind her. She ran to it, but it was locked. From the inside, the whispers began again, this time louder. "Amaka, Amaka, she sees you." She turned around. There was nothing. Then she saw something written on the mirror in red lipstick. Clara was here. Her heart pounded. She backed away and yanked the door open. A tea lunch. Amaka found the blonde girl from before, the one who warned her. "Hey," Amaka said. "Can we talk?" The girl looked uneasy. "You shouldn't have taken the doll out." "I didn't know," Amaka said. "Who is Clara? What's going on?" The girl looked around, then whispered, 37 years ago, a girl named Clara went missing at this school. They found her doll in locker 13, but no one ever found her body." Amaka's chest tightened. Why was the locker still used? It wasn't the girl said. No one could open it. The key went missing. Some say Clara didn't want it opened again. Amaka felt dizzy. But I had the key. The girl stared at her. Then maybe she chose you. That evening, Amaka opened her locker one more time. She needed to see the doll again. But the locker was empty. The doll was gone. And written in small red letters inside the locker door was a chilling message. I like my new friend. Amaka stood frozen in front of the empty locker. The doll was gone. And the message I like my new friend still stared at her in red, childlike writing. Her hands trembled as she closed the locker. Her heart raced. She wanted to run home, but something inside her whispered, find the truth. She didn't want to be afraid anymore. In the school library, she searched for old school records. The librarian, a kind old woman named Mrs. Grant, helped her find a box labeled Graywood High 1980S. Inside were dusty files, faded photos, and old yearbooks. She pulled out the 1987 yearbook, the same year written on the doll's neck, Clara 1987. She flipped through the pages, rows of smiling students, names and clubs. Then, near the back, a photo of a girl in a pink dress, holding a porcelain doll. Clara Mayfield, Amaka whispered. The photo was old, but the face was clear. It was the same doll she found in the locker. Amaka's hands shook. She looked closer. Clara's smile was strange to wide, like she was hiding something, or afraid. She turned the page, then she gasped. There, in a black and white club photo, was her own face. Same eyes, same nose, same hairstyle. Her name was written under it, Amaka Williams, Foreign Student Exchange. But this book is from 1987, she said aloud. She was born into 007. It made no sense. She checked again. It was her, but she hadn't even been born. She slammed the book shut, heart pounding. As she left the library, she passed the hallway near locker 13. There, at the end of the corridor, stood a small girl in a pink dress. Pale skin, curly brown hair. Clara. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Amaka froze. What do you want from me? The lights flickered. When they came back on, the girl was gone. That night, Amaka told her host mom, Mrs. Clark, about everything: the locker, the doll, the yearbook, the message. Mrs. Clark looked worried. I went to this school too, she said. I remember when Clara disappeared. People said it was an accident, but others believe something darker happened. Do you think she's still here? Amaka asked. Mrs. Clark was silent. Then she said softly, some spirits don't rest when they're forgotten. Amaka took a deep breath. Then I need to remember her, find the truth, or she won't stop. She walked upstairs to her room. She opened her backpack. The doll was sitting inside, its head tilted, its smile wider, and in its tiny porcelain hands was a folded piece of paper. Amaka slowly opened it. It was a photo, Clara and Amaka, standing side by side, same school, same locker, same smile. Amaka stared at the photo in her hands. Her face beside Clara's single quotes It wasn't possible. She was born in 2007. Clara disappeared in 1987. And yet, there it was. The photo felt real. The paper was old. The ink was faded. She looked at the doll sitting in her backpack, still smiling, still holding Clara's secrets. The next morning, Amaka went straight to the library. She needed answers. Mrs. Grant wasn't there, so she searched the records herself. She found an old blue folder labeled Closed Areas Former Storage. Inside was a map of the school. One place was circled in red. Locker room B, sealed in 1988 underneath the main staircase. She checked her phone. No classes for the next hour. Heart pounding, she made her way to the stairs at the end of the east hallway. No one ever walked there. The lights were dim. The air was cold. She reached the bottom and found a locked wooden door. The sign read, Do not enter structure and safe, but something pushed her forward. The same whispering voice from her dreams. She pushed. The door creaked open. Behind it was a small dark room, and at the center, a row of old metal lockers, all rusted shut except one, locker 13. Again, this locker looked older than the one upstairs. Like the original, she walked closer. The air was heavy. The walls seemed to breathe. She reached for the handle and it opened on its own. Inside was a small wooden box. She opened it. Inside were a pink ribbon, a cracked photo of Clara, a torn diary page, and a name tag, Amaka Williams, missing 1987. She dropped it. No, this can't be. Her mind raced. Was she dreaming? Was she cursed? Was Clara trying to replace her? Then she heard the voice. You were my only friend. Amaka turned. Clara stood in the shadows, pale, crying. You promised you wouldn't leave me. I don't understand, Amaka said, backing away. You said we'd stay together forever, but you left me here. Clara stepped forward. The doll appeared in her arms. You forgot me. Tears rolled down Clara's face. So now, we'll never be apart again. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. The lights flickered. The air turned freezing. Amaka grabbed the diary page. It was torn, but one line was clear. If you say her name, you break the bond. Clara moved closer, her eyes glowing. Amaka stood firm. She shouted, Clara Mayfield, Clara Mayfield, Clara Mayfield. The room shook. Clara screamed a long, painful cry that echoed through the walls. The doll fell to the ground and cracked. Then silence. The door creaked open behind her. The lights returned. Clara was gone. Only dust remained. Amaka picked up the broken doll. Inside the cracked head was a silver chain and a heart-shaped locket. Inside the locket was a tiny photo. To girls. Smiling. Clara and Amaka. Amaka stood in the dusty room beneath the stairs, holding the broken doll and the locket. Her heart was still racing. Her hands were cold, but the air felt lighter now. Clara was gone, or so she thought. Back in the library, Amaka showed the photo and the locket to Mrs. Grant. The old librarian gasped. This is Clara's locket, the one her mother said disappeared with her. Why do I look like the girl in the photo? Amaka asked quietly. Mrs. Grant looked at her closely, then sighed. Some people say souls can return, not as ghosts but as people. Maybe you're not just here by chance, Amaka. Maybe you were meant to finish her story. Amaka didn't fully understand it, but deep inside, something felt true. Maybe in another life, she and Clara had been friends. Maybe she had forgotten, and now she had remembered. She placed the locket in an envelope. That evening, Amaka returned to locker 13, the one upstairs, where it all began. The writing inside was gone. The inside was clean, empty. She placed the broken doll and the locket inside gently, like laying a friend to rest. I'm sorry, Clara, she whispered. You're not forgotten anymore. She closed the locker. It clicked shut. For the first time, the hallway felt still, not haunted, but peaceful. Days passed. The whispers stopped. No more messages. No more strange dreams. Amaka slept well for the first time in weeks. One morning, as she walked past the main hallway, she noticed something new, a framed photo on the wall. It showed a young girl in a pink dress and a student beside her, one that looked exactly like Amaka. The title read, In Memory of Clara Mayfield. Gone, but not alone. No one else seemed to notice the new picture, but Amaka smiled. Weeks later, Amaka and the blonde girl, whose name she learned was Grace, sat under a tree after school. So, what happened to the locker? Grace asked. They removed it, Amaka said. The school said it was too old, unsafe. Grace nodded. Good. That thing gave me nightmares since I was a kid. Amaka looked at the sky. The sun was warm. The wind was calm. She didn't tell Grace everything. Some things didn't need to be said, because she knew Clara was at peace now, and so was she. That night, Amaka opened her journal. She wrote one last note before bed. There are some friendships that never die. Even time cannot break them. Goodbye, Clara. She closed the book and turned off the light. Just as she drifted to sleep, a soft giggle echoed from the hallway. Not evil, not angry, just a quiet, gentle laugh, and then, silence. Forever.